Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to create your isometric drawing from your front view of your orthogonal. So if you just copy and paste it into a new title block, you need to go in and change obviously the title, and then we're not going to draw this one to scale, so you need to change that to not to scale. Alright, so there's a couple of things you need to do before we can actually go to the effect function that we're going to use. The first thing is, for this function you want to have a fill but no stroke. So I'm going to swap that over there, and then I'm going to go over here and select a lighter grey. That's just going to be much more effective when we go to apply the 3D extrude and bevel effect. And then the second thing I need to do is bring a texture in and add it to my swatches. So you'll find your swatches either here to the side, looks like a little watercolor paint palette, or you can go up here to window and scroll down to swatches, and what we want to do is add a texture to our symbols in here. So you can see I've got a couple of things in there. To add a texture in, you need to open up a continuous texture. You can find those all over the internet. You need to save it and open it up as a separate document. Don't try and copy and paste it into this document or use the file place function, because it won't work. So once you've got it opened up in a second document, you want to copy, so Control C, and paste it into our current page, and then I'm just going to click and drag it up here. You can see when the symbols panel is highlighted blue that it's going to add it, and this one is just cement. I've gone for something pretty simple. Alright, once it's in my swatches panel I can delete it from here. Okay, so next thing, I'm going to select my number 5 and I'm going to go up here to Effect. Now, depending on what version of Illustrator you're using, it might have 3D effect, and then you'll choose extrude and bevel, or if yours is the same as mine, we're going to go here to 3D and materials, and then I'm going to scroll down to 3D classic. These here are new functions with the latest version of Illustrator. In there are some preset textures, so if you want to have a play around with that, please do, but for the purposes of this, we're going to go here to 3D Classic, Extrude and Bevel. Alright, you can see now that that has turned my 5 into a 3D image, but it's actually not isometric at the moment. To change it to isometric, I'm going to go up here to where it says position, and if I click on that arrow, bring a whole lot of options down. You just need to choose one of these isometric options. I'm going to do mine isometric left, but you can do yours whatever you like. The next thing I want you to do is change the extrude depth, or at least take note of the fact that you can change it. So you can see here mine's actually pretty good at the moment, fairly proportionate, but you might need to change that up or down, and that'll change the thickness of your, or the depth of your extruded number 5. And then the other thing is, you can see here that I've got all these options here. They allow me to play around with the intensity of light and the shading, and I can go over here and I can move the light source. I actually think it's pretty good where it was. If you can't see that, down here where mine says fewer options, yours will say more options. If you click on there, it'll bring up this. Alright, so once I've done all of that, make sure you've got your preview box checked. That's just going to allow you to see what you're doing. And then I'm going to go in here where it says Map Artwork to Surfaces of 3D Object. And that brings up this little window here. And if you have a look at this window, you can see up the top it's got symbol. That's actually my symbols menu. And if I click here, I can see that down the bottom is my cement that I've added. And then over here it's got the surface 1 of 20, and then this little sort of diagram here. This is showing me which surface of my 3D image is currently in focus, or is what I'm going to apply my surface to. So you can see the red outline here shows me that it's the front surface of my 5. To apply the texture, firstly I'm going to make sure it says Shade Artwork Slower. and that I've got my preview box checked. As long as that's all good, I'm going to go up here and scroll down and select my texture. And then you can see that it will just bring it in and put it onto the surface of your number. So I'm going to click scale to fit. That should make it bigger. Perfect, and you can see it's applied it to that whole front surface. So then what you need to do is scroll through these surfaces, and you need to apply that texture wherever the surface is visible. So you can see this is the back face of my 5, and I can't see that, so I'm not going to do anything to it. This view I can see, so I'm going to apply it to that. The beauty of this cement texture is that it's pretty generic, and so I don't really need to change anything, but you can see when it opens up in there, it's got the normal handles, so you could increase, decrease the size to suit the space. Alright, I'm going to work through this fairly quickly. So as you can see, just wherever the surface is visible, I'm applying my texture. Next one's not visible, not visible, not visible. And I think this is the last one. Not quite. Okay. Alright, so once I've done all of that and I'm happy with it, I just click OK. And then OK here. And if I click off my 5, you can see I have this beautiful number 5 rendered with light source to look like cement. Now, because this is a presentation drawing, I've got my orthogonal here, I'm actually going to bring a version of that. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, it doesn't like that. There you go, that's better. Alright, and I'm just going to bring that in and place it on my finished orthogonal. So that shows us a 3D view of what our 2D orthogonal drawing is of. Alright, so that is how to create your number, or how to create an isometric drawing of your number.